Once upon a time in a far-off place, there was a lakeside farm. It was a beautiful place surrounded by trees and flowers. There were ducks that lived on the lake. They would swim around all day, looking for yummy things to eat. One day, a mama duck laid some eggs. She sat on those eggs day after day until they hatched. One by one, little ducklings started to appear. They were fluffy and yellow and loved to follow their mama everywhere. Soon, all of the eggs had hatched except one. Mama duck just kept sitting on that last egg, waiting patiently for it to hatch. After a while, another duck from the pond came over to check on them. "Are you sure that egg is going to hatch?" she asked Mama Duck. "It's been so long," said Mama Duck. "Oh, I don't know," replied the other duck. "Maybe we should just break that egg and see if anything's inside." Just then, the little duckling started to crack open the egg. The other ducks watched in amazement. Slowly but surely, the duckling chipped away at the egg until he was finally free. At first, the duckling looked just like the others, but as he grew older, he started to look different. His feathers weren't as yellow as the other ducklings, and instead of getting darker as the other ducklings did, his feathers became lighter and lighter until they were almost white. The other ducks started to tease him because he didn't look like them. "Hey, white feather," they would say, "you're such a chicken, aren't you? You're not even a real duck. Get out of here." So the white duckling spent most of his time alone. He was sad because he didn't fit in. The white duckling didn't talk to anyone until one day he met an old, wise turtle. The turtle saw how sad the duckling was and asked him why. "Everyone's always making fun of me," said the duckling. "They say that I'm not even a real duck." The wise turtle smiled and said, "You are a real duck, but you are also something else. You are a swan. You are a beautiful white swan." The duckling thought that maybe the turtle was wrong. Maybe he wasn't a swan. After all, he didn't have any friends and no one had ever called him a swan before. The duckling continued to grow. As spring turned into summer and summer turned into fall, his feathers became whiter and whiter. In the fall, he met up with the other ducks again. They had grown up and were preparing for winter. "Hey, white feather," they said, "aren't you scared of the cold? Swans can't handle the cold. Get out of here." The white duck shook his head. "I am a swan," he said, "and I'm not scared of the cold." The other ducks just laughed and swam away. The white duck swam away by himself, feeling sad and lonely. As winter began, snow fell all around. The white duck swam around in the middle of the lake. He didn't have any friends and was all alone. But then, as he looked around, he saw hundreds of swans swimming toward him. They were beautiful birds with white feathers and long necks. "Come swim with us," they said. The white duck joined the swans and they all swam together across the lake. The next morning, the sun was shining and the birds were singing. The white duck joined the other ducks in the lake for their morning swim. Suddenly, the ducks gasped. They couldn't believe their eyes. There, in front of them, was the most beautiful swan they had ever seen. The swan had bright white feathers and a long, graceful neck. And when the swan opened his wings, the ducks knew who he was. It was the white duck who had been teased and bullied for so long. The other ducks felt bad about how they had treated him. "We are sorry we didn't believe you," they said. "We didn't know you were a swan." The beautiful white swan smiled at them and said, "It's okay. I'm just glad to be myself." And from that day on, The ducks and the swans were the best of friends.